Alright, dude. Go trip over a knife.
My channel. So if you guys follow me on my Instagram, which you totally should, it's just Jenna Danielle Beauty. I took a poll on whether you guys would like to see the Armed and Gorgeous palette or the Dark Magic palette next, and it was almost 50-50. It was almost 50-50 again, but Dark Magic did win by a few votes. So that is the tutorial I am filming today. I did the same thing in this tutorial as I did in the Ring the Alarm tutorial. I used every single shadow in the palette, so that is super exciting, and yeah, you guys can just get a feel for how all of these shadows perform. And yeah, if you guys want to see how to create this makeup look right here, then please keep on watching. Bye guys. Alright, first things first, I'm just going to preface that if my foundation looks a little worn, that's because I've had it on since 6 in the morning, so yeah. But I just figured that it wasn't horrible, so I just wiped off my mascara, and yeah, so now I'm just going to sit down and film just the eye tutorial of this video, because you guys really don't need to see the base because it's pretty much the same in every single video. I really don't stray too far from the normal products that I use on my face. So yes. So going straight in, I'm just going to grab the Armed and Gorgeous palette first. I've done this in all of the Vault palette tutorials so far, but I'm just going to take that VIP shade right here, and this is the only shade that I've used in this palette. But yeah, I'm just going to take that and highlight my inner corner and brow bone. I know if you can see this from here, my eyebrows are growing in a bit and I need to pluck them. Please ignore. Now going into the Dark Magic palette, I'm going to open it up, and I wasn't going to use this shade just because I really don't see what I would even be using this shade for. It is the shade Poof right here, and as you can see, this could only really work on certain skin tones. I would definitely say if you are very peachy or more of a pinky undertone and a little bit lighter in skin tone, then you can definitely use this to probably set your eyes, like set your concealer. I'm definitely a little bit too yellowy for this, so I couldn't set my eyelids using this because they would just look a little peachy, so I don't really think that could work, but I could try to use it as a transition shade, kind of like a peach smoothie. Hold on one second. Okay, yes, it is what I thought. It actually really does look almost the same as Peach Smoothie from Makeup Geek. Let me zoom you in. So you can see that they are very, very similar in tone. All right, well, with that being said, that looks not exactly, but very, very similar to Peach Smoothie from Makeup Geek. So I'm probably just going to take the shade Poof right here, and I'm going to blend this around in my crease and just use it as a transition shade. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to swatch this like on my hand, because let me see. Okay, yeah, so I just swatched this on my hand, and you can definitely see that it is a lot lighter than what it looks like in the pan. Like, it almost blends out completely nude, like almost translucent once I blend it out onto my skin, which is a little different. I thought that it was definitely going to be a lot more peachy. I thought you were going to really see those peachy undertones. That's why I didn't think that I could set my eye with it. But once you blend it out, it really does almost become invisible. So yeah, there's that. So now I'm just going to take the shade Shh, and it is this one right here, and it is just a cool toned taupe kind of color. It kind of jumps, so it goes from Poof, which is that nude color that pretty much blended into my skin, so you really can't see the transition shade, and it's jumping straight to this Shh shade. So yeah, that's kind of a big jump. I hope that it blends properly, because you guys know, if you've been watching a lot of my videos, that I like to go down in a gradient of colors. So I like to use a lot of shades that are similar in tones, but some are just a little bit lighter and some are just a little bit darker, just to really help the blending process. I know that jumping into a darker shade, you can definitely run into some blending problems. Not always, but it is definitely more prone to happening than if you use some light shades first and then go in with the darker shades. I hope that makes sense, but I'm just blabbering at this point. But yes, I'm just going to go in with that taupe shade, and I'm going to blend it around in my crease area as well. I talk too much. So I'm starting off light so I can build up the color. So once you dip your brush into the eyeshadow shade, make sure to dust off the excess so you aren't going in too heavy with the color, because then you can really run into some blending problems as well. So start off light and then you can build. It's always easier to start off with less so you can build than starting off with a ton and not being able to remove it. I'm just going to continue to build up this shade. This would actually make a really pretty contour shade. It almost looks like the Too Faced, not Born This Way. I always go to say the Born This Way, but the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer in medium deep. It really kind of looks like that color. It's just a little bit more cool toned, I would say. But the shades definitely are similar. This is really just the key of how to get a super blended look, is you really just gotta sit here and blend and blend and blend, because yes, the video may show me just a minute of blending these eyeshadows around, but I've literally sat here for like 5 minutes just really packing and blending and packing and blending. So, and that's with every beauty guru's makeup videos, you guys. Like, we literally sit here and blend and blend and blend. And obviously we don't put everything into the video, because you would literally be sitting here for like 45 minutes just watching us do our eye makeup, because we're sitting here and blending and really taking the time. So what you see on camera isn't always what is exactly going on behind camera, because girl, I sit here and I blend. So don't be afraid that you're taking too long on your eye makeup because you're blending, because that's not the case. We all do it, and that's really the key to success. And I am just blending the shadows under the eye as well, just most of the matte ones. You guys will see which ones I do end up blending under the eye. But I'm just going to take this taupe shade under the eye just because it saves time so we don't have to do it later. So I'm just going to smoke it under the eye as I'm going. Okay, so I do believe that I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the Ring the Alarm palette. I am going to try and use every single shade in the palette on my eye. This is going to be I would say a little bit more difficult than the Ring the Alarm palette, just because we have this Power Cut shade and this Diversion shade, which are pretty similar in tones, and then we have this Trickery shade right here, which is a deep emerald green. So that's going to be a little bit more difficult to incorporate those 3 shimmer shadows onto the eye, but I'm going to try my best. I know that I can get them on the eye, but that just kind of makes me think that it's not going to look as good. I'm not too sure, but I do kind of like these videos of me showing you guys what every single shade looks like. I think it's very helpful. So that's what I'm going to do today, but I definitely will be using these palettes in further tutorials down the road, and I will definitely create some different looks using the shadows as well. So that's all I gotta say about that, but I'm just going to go straight in and take this shade right here. This is the infamous Potion shade. Now this shade has been prone to just getting really patchy and kind of doing the same look that that Subculture palette did from Anastasia Beverly Hills, where the shadows kind of oxidized and changed colors on the eyes. Basically, some of those issues were happening kind of to this Potion shade as well. So I'm going to put that to the test, and we're going to see if Jaclyn and Morphe really did change these palettes up and make them better. Not that my palette is going to be the exact case of whether they did or not, because obviously every palette's going to perform just a little bit differently, but yeah, we're just gonna put that to the test and we're gonna see what happens. But I'm just going to take that Potion shade and I'm going to apply it to my crease as well. I'm taking a couple taps into the pan and then I'm going to dust it off so we don't get too crazy. So this is going to start off sheer just because I've tapped off a lot of the excess and I don't want it to get crazy on me. This is really pretty so far. Now I haven't blended it out yet, not by much, but so far it's laying down on the eye really beautifully. You guys, this is performing really beautifully so far. I'm really impressed. I honestly have no complaints. Now I'm just going to take this under the eye as well. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the shade Inside Job right here, and I'm just going to start doing the exact same thing that I pretty much did with that Potion shade. I'm just going to blend it out into my crease as well. This is pretty much what I'm going to do with almost all of the mattes. I'm basically just tapping it on first, just with a little bit. Once again, I dusted off the excess every time that I take a bit of it, just to tone it down and make sure it doesn't go everywhere. But I'm just tapping this in the crease. And I like to do this sometimes with a lot of more like pigmented shades, especially dark shades. I like to tap it into the crease first, and then I'll go back in and I'll blend it out. Sometimes I feel like it just helps get that down, get that color down, and then you could start wiggling and blending. So now I'm going to wash that brush, and now with that clean brush, I'm going to dip into Potion. Just a bit, tapping off the excess. I don't want a ton of this, but this is what I'm going to use to blend out that dark shade. That is the good thing about setting down the dark shade first and then blending it out with your middle shade, because a lot of the time you don't want to take your dark shade and use that to really start blending up, because then it can start to get really, really heavy up here and it can start to look like, my favorite analogy, it can look like you got punched in the face. I don't know why I always say that. I need a new analogy. Let me know. Let me know what we should use instead. I kind of like punched in the face. I mean, it makes sense. I feel like I should do a video with this palette of recreating Jaclyn's makeup tutorial that she did with it, because everybody was in an uproar because of how she edited the video. Everybody thought that she was like cutting out bad blending parts and, you know, making it seem different than what it was. So I would like to recreate it and see how it goes. So if you guys have seen my past videos, you know that if I use blues or greens, that I like to occasionally get out the teal liner and line my waterline with it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I know that this step is a little bit out of order, but I don't know. I just want to do it right now. My eye pencil is from NYX, if you guys are curious. I'm just going to take the shade Mojo right here, and I'm going to take that into the crease area as well. My eyes are freaking watering already. Help. But I'm going to take that shade and keep it deep into the crease. Yeah, I really liked that Inside Job shade as well. I didn't say anything on that, I don't believe, but it performed well. It was very pigmented and it blended out nicely. So Ugh, I have this translucent powder under my eyes and I already know it's gonna look cakey and gross, but whatever, we gotta protect against fallout. But really, I have not had a lot of fallout at all with this palette, so that's pretty good. I'm just stamping this onto the crease area as well, just like I did with that Inside Job shade. So far, it's not really that pigmented. It's not as pigmented as I wanted it to be. Hold on, let me swatch it on my hand. What the heck? I mean, it looks pretty good on my hand, but I don't know. Maybe it's just not dark enough against this Inside Job shade to where it's not really coming out as much, but I wish it was just a little more. And I'm packing the shade on pretty well. I'm not dusting off a ton of the excess, which is why you're starting to see some fallout on my cheeks. But even with me packing it on with a lot of the shade, it's still not as pigmented as I would want. But maybe that's just me. I don't know, I just wish it was a little bit different. Now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm cleaning off that brush and I'm going to go whoop back into Potion and take a little bit of shh as well. And I'm just going to blend out the corners. Why do I feel like this is just going to get darker and darker and darker and my eyes are just gonna get blacker and blacker? Ooh, we'll see. This is definitely a more risky makeup look. Using a lot of dark greens, especially greens and blues, is scary business sometimes. We've got a special friend. I'm going to take Temptress right here, which is a gorgeous matte black with little glitters in it. Super cool. I'm really excited. So I'm just going to take that shade and really focus it on the outer V. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm really going to pack this on the outer V. I'm going to take a Morphe B83 blush brush and just watch what I do, because I can't explain. Ooh, she's pigmented. Holy, that was violent. Scaling buildings over here, except using furniture. It's like jumping around, bro. Calm down, man. All right, so I'm also going to take this under here. Make my eyes even more irritated. I love the changing seasons. So I'm going to take Potion and I'm going to start blending out this black. Nice! That thing just blended right in. Okay. I like. So this black is really blending in seamlessly. I'm going to take the trusty Shape Tape concealer from Tarte and I'm just going to kind of cut out the very inner corners of my eye and out to the lid area, just so I can get a clean slate right there. And then I'm going to apply that Power Cut shade right on the inner corner. I'm going to do almost like the exact same thing that I did with the Ring the Alarm palette. I'm going to take those 3 shimmer shades and use them and just like put them into kind of a gradient of lightest to darkest. So that's what we're gonna do. So now I'm going to go into that middle part right there and take Diversion. Just meshing those 2 shades together by kind of going over a little bit with Power Cut, or going over Power Cut. I'll be honest, I really don't care for this Diversion shade. It's just not my favorite. It performed fine. It wasn't very shimmery. I'm just not a fan of the color personally, but yeah. Now I'm going to take Trickery right here, which is that really pretty emerald green color, and I'm going to place that on the outer part of the lid. I feel like the shade's not going to be super metallic, but we'll see. Oh, okay. Wow. That shade is actually really pretty. It literally like meshes in like butter. So now I'm going to go into Diversion and kind of pack that back into the middle. So we kind of lost it a bit. So I'm going back into that black shade Temptress and darkening up that outer V again. Taking Potion and blending it out. Okay, so I had to redo my base just because it was getting really cakey with the translucent powder. So it kind of, because I had to take off my bottom shadow. So once I reapplied the bottom shadow, it kind of made the outer corners look a little bit weird just because that's also another reason as to why I like doing the bottom lash line while I am doing the top, just because it really meshes it all together. I find that every time I do the bottom lash line after, it kind of doesn't mesh with the top shadows. I don't know if I explained that correctly, but yeah. So now I'm going to take Busted because that is the last shade left in the palette to use, and I'm going to create some sort of smoked liner using that shadow. Alright, so I'm just going to grab that Busted shade and dip my little angled eyeliner brush into it. This is a Morphe M160-1/16, I guess because it's a 1/16 of an inch. But I'm going to dip that into that shadow and just create a line. Okay, so obviously that wasn't a perfect representation of using the shade just because it was a thin little line and you can't really see how it performs with a thin little line. But I definitely will use this shadow in a tutorial so we can really see how it performs then. But today we're going to put it in this tutorial, but it's not going to have a huge, like, it's not going to change the look completely. For lips, I'm kind of going to outline my lips using Dolce K from Kylie Cosmetics, and then I'm just going to fill in the center using literally gloss. Oh, I forgot to say, I applied my Lilly Lashes in the style Miami's, so that is what is on my eyes right now. This wand is literally so frayed. Alright guys, that's the end of this makeup tutorial. The final verdict for this palette is that I really enjoyed it actually. It was super beautiful. The shadows actually really blended so much more than I expected. The only thing I would say about this palette is Busted and what is this, Inside Job. They are very, very similar in shade. Obviously, Busted is just a more blue and Inside Job is definitely a darker green, which I will definitely use both of these shades in my lifetime. But I just think that they are very similar in tone, that it's, I don't know, they're just very close together in color. So I don't know, that's all I have to say about that one. And the only other thing I have to say is Diversion right here, this taupe metallic shade. I didn't love that shade personally, but that was just really my personal opinion. I just didn't really like the color of it. It performed well and yeah, it was really beautiful, but I just personally didn't like that color. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But other than that, this palette was super awesome. So I definitely recommend this palette if you're looking for a good, dark, smoky, kind of greeny blue palette to work with. This is definitely a great one to go for. But yeah, that's the end of this makeup tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. That really helps me out. And definitely subscribe down below to see more videos of me. And I love you guys so, so much. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.